Hey Natalia, thank you so much for helping me out with this experiment. What we're going to study today is the different colors or pigments that are in plants and how they absorb light. One of the things I wanted to teach you about is that in these leaves there are multiple colors, not just greens. There's yellows and oranges and dark browns. But we can't see all those colors because mostly they're just green. So what we want to do today is we want to take all the colors in here and mix them in a liquid and then separate all the colors out on a piece of paper. So if you follow the directions, you should be able to do it too. Okay, so to get started, you need to have some plants. These are weeds, and I just picked them out of my backyard, and they're all dark green and they have broad leaves, not like grass. And you want to make sure that when you pick them, they don't have a lot of milk. So there's some things when you pick them, there's white stuff that comes out. Don't use those plants. So go out and pick some leaves, some nice dark, thick leaves from probably just weeds around your house or even at the park. You need to have a coffee filter. The coffee filter, we're going to go ahead and cut, and we're just going to cut a strip of it about 1 inch wide. So I'm going to cut it out here, and I just want half that length because it's folded, so I just want to cut that length in half. Okay, so I want to have a strip about 4 inches long and 1 inch wide of coffee filter. I want to have a container. This can be a cup at your house or it could be a bowl. I just have a beaker. You have to have a straw, some scissors, and some alcohol. This is ethanol that I have today. This ethanol came from a bottle that looks something like this. I usually would use rubbing alcohol, but rubbing alcohol, because of the pandemic, is all sold out. So I had a little bit of this up by my microscope, and this is grain alcohol, and your mom might have some, but I gave you some. So this is only to be used for the experiment. All right, so these are all the things that you have to get started. And very important, you have to have your mom. So do not do any of these experiments without your mom present. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to cut all these leaves up into small little pieces and put them into our beaker or our cup or whatever it is. And we're going to fill this whole beaker up with little parts of plants. Few more leaves in here. What we're going to end up doing is taking the juice out of most of these leaves, and it's going to be dark and green, but then we're going to find out that there's other colors in here as well. So I filled it up to the top, then I pushed it down, and I'm going to add a little bit of this alcohol up to where the liquid says about 30 milliliters on my beaker, but it doesn't really matter. It's just about halfway of whatever amount of leaves I have. Then I'm going to bash. I want to make sure that I get all these crunched up really good. I'll do this for about 5 minutes. And now what it looks like is kind of a weedy soup. So then what I did was I went and got some boiling water in a beaker, and I'm going to put this beaker that I've mixed up carefully inside that very hot water. Try not to get it to tip over. It should float on the top. Now set a timer for 1 hour, and then we'll come back. Okay, Natalia, you ready to get going on this again? So this has been sitting for about an hour. Remember that we had a whole bunch of little plants that we cut up, leaves. We cut them up really small, and then we added some ethanol, and then we squished them with the straw. Now when you look in here, the leaves are a little bit softer because we basically cooked them in that boiling water, and the juice is green. That's good. That's exactly what we want it to look like. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece of filter paper from the coffee, and we're going to put it over the edge of our container down into the liquid and then fold it right on the edge. And what you'll start to see happen is that there's colors coming up from the liquid in the container and going up the paper. And we're just going to let this sit for a couple hours, and we'll come back and see it later. All right, so let's see what's happening with our liquid that's all mushed up green stuff from the leaves. If we take the piece of paper out and lay it out, you can see that there's different colors. There's yellows, very dark green, a light green, and almost an orange color. So what this experiment shows is that even though the leaves might be all green to us, there's different colors or different pigments in the leaves. And those pigments are orange and yellow and maybe a little bit of brown, but there's lots of different colors inside this sleeve, and we just can't see them all. So we've been able to separate them here on the paper. So good luck. You're going to do the same thing. When you're all finished, you take this piece of paper out and you just let it dry, and then we can see the colors better.